Hi everyone, thank you for joining the Gmail overview training. I'm Christina and I'll be your trainer today. Just so you are aware, we've set this meeting up so that you are muted, but chances are you may have a few questions along the way. So I'll stop periodically during this training to give you an opportunity to ask me questions that you may have. One way you can ask a question is to click the raise your hand option on the right of the screen in the GoToWebinar control panel, and I'll unmute you so you can ask your question out loud. However, if you have questions come up along the way that you'd like answered right away, you can go ahead and type your question in the control panel. And like I said, I'll be checking this throughout the training to ensure any questions you have get answered. Amanda is also on this training and will be answering questions as we go along as well. So today I'm going to give you an overview of Gmail and its basic features. One of the biggest changes in email capabilities that you'll notice in Gmail is the conversation threading capability. So we'll definitely cover that, as well as how to change your settings to personalize your email so it really works best for your needs. We'll also go over some quick tips on how to search and label your email to really capitalize on your new email solution. If you're looking for more information or just really need to get using Google quickly, I suggest going to the G Suite Learning Center. Here you'll find some great resources and tips on using G Suite. I've included the link in the chat of this webinar, so you can even go ahead and open it up now and bookmark it for future reference. It will really help you out in the long run. And if you want to see what that G Suite Learning Center looks like, this is it. Here you can see some common questions, really get quick support on whatever you're needing. This session will be recorded and will be shared via email later today. In case you need to refer back to this training session at a later date, you'll have access to it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Gmail is a browser-based email client, which means that you need to log into Gmail via a web browser. We recommend Google Chrome, however, you can also use an up-to-date version of Safari, Firefox, or Internet Explorer. So to begin, you're going to open a browser of your choice and navigate to either www.gmail.com, or you can just go to google.com and access your mail through there. If you have a personal email account, you may need to sign out of that account before signing into your new business account, or you can simply add the account. So I like to go to just google.com, and on the right here I can see mail, and further right I can open up my account settings, and here I can choose the account that I'd like to sign into. This is the one that I would like, so I'm going to go ahead and select it, and I can go to mail. When you log in, you're going to enter your full email address, including the @thenameofyourbusiness.com portion and your password. And when you log in the first time, I can't really show you this because I've already signed into my accounts, but when you log in the first time, you'll need to accept the Gmail terms and conditions, as well as decipher a security image. You may also be required to set up two-step verification, and this adds an extra layer of security to your account. So basically, you'll sign in with something you know, like your password, and something you have, for example, a code sent to your phone. You'll only be prompted to do this the very first time you log in, and then your computer will be recognized for 30 days. And depending on what tools your company is using, you may also be able to link your email account to a traditional email client, such as Outlook or MacMail, but your IT admin will be able to provide you with more information on that setup process. If you do choose to use a different mail client to access your email, you can still log into Gmail on the web at any time to view your account. So I have my account that I'd like to sign into, and I'm going to select Mail. And now I've been successfully signed in, and we're ready to get going. So let's start with looking at some of the basic features of Gmail and where they are located. The left-hand sidebar contains the Compose Message button, all of my labels, and my Google Hangouts up here on the bottom. And across the top of my screen, I have a search bar, which I can use to quickly locate messages, and works a lot just like a Google search would. On the upper right-hand corner, there's a square made up of 9 dots, which is called the Apps Grid. You can quickly navigate to other Google applications such as Calendar, Documents, and more. A lot of these products mimic Microsoft Office. For example, Docs is similar to Word, Sheets is similar to Excel, and Slides is similar to PowerPoint. Next to the Apps Grid is your notifications. I can see by clicking on it that I've recently been followed on Google+. Your notifications will probably vary. And further right, I can see my account settings. Here I can, sorry about that. Here I can go ahead and if I go to my account, I can change some of my account settings that your company allows you to change. I would go there if I needed to, change my password, for example. Here I can also add an account. Maybe I have multiple email accounts that I'd like to get access to. I could also sign out of my account, which is always a good idea if you're using a public or shared computer. You want to make sure that that's secured. If I click sign out here, I'll just be signed out of this instance on this computer. But I was recently using a shared computer at a library, and I'm not sure if I signed out of it. To make sure that I keep my account secure, I can scroll down to the bottom of my inbox, and I can click on details on the bottom right hand of the page. Here I'll see this pop up, and I could go ahead and click sign out all other web sessions. This would make sure that my account at the library is signed out, nobody can get into it, and really make sure all of my instances are secure. Now if I go again to underneath my alerts and account settings, I can go to this gear icon, and here I can change my display settings. Right now I have it at comfortable. I personally really like this option. I think it's easier to see. But if I wanted cozy, makes things a little bit more dense, I can go to compact. That really makes things a lot smaller. I'm going to keep it on comfortable. Here I can also change my settings, go into themes. Here you can, make it a little bit more personal if you want. So now my background is this green bug. I'm going to go ahead and keep it on the original one for now. And here I can also go ahead and get help. So this is a good way to just get quick tips and tricks that you might need. So, I need to know how to change or reset my password or delete or recover deleted email messages. So this is a great tool to use if you don't want to go to that G Suite Learning site, don't want to dig up a past recording. This is an easy way to get some quick help. Now let's set up desktop notifications because I don't know about you, but I like to see right when an email comes in. To set up notifications, I need to click on the gear icon and click on settings. Here I'll be brought to a page with all my different settings that I can go ahead and personalize. If I scroll down a little bit, I can see this tab called Desktop Notifications. This will allow messages to display a pop-up notification on my desktop when a new message arrives. I really like this option because sometimes I'm not on my internet browser, I don't have the screen open, and instead I'm working on a document that's offline, and so I like to see when a new email comes in, so I am going to go ahead and turn new mail notifications on. I don't really want to turn on just important mail. You can if you'd like. I like to get just all my mail. I don't get a lot of spam in this email, so I'm going to just turn all of them on. If I scroll down a little bit more, I'll see the signature setting, and that's definitely something you'll probably want to set up. Right now I don't have a signature, but if I go click on this bubble below it, I can go ahead and set one up. You can go ahead and personalize it however you need to, whatever your company policy is. I can change the font. I want it to be this font. I can change the size of it, bold it, change the color of the text, really do whatever I need to. And you'll see that this hyperlink, it didn't link automatically. So I can go ahead and highlight it and click link. And now it is a link in my signature. If I scroll down a little bit more, I'll see vacation responder. And this will be an automated reply to incoming messages. Thankfully, it will only send a person this message every 4 days at most, so they won't be bombarded if they're sending you a lot of different emails and you're gone. Right now it's off, but I'm going to go ahead and turn my vacation responder on, and I can select the dates that it's actually going to go ahead and get started. So that May 29th looks like a good day for me, and yep, I think June 2nd's the right, no, July 2nd. Yeah, I'm going to be gone for a very long time. I can go ahead and set a personalized subject, seen out of office, and I can go ahead and write a little bit note of, I'm out of office, I'll be back. Here I can write my personal message so that they know I'm gone, and of course I can add any of the editing that I need to. If I needed, maybe I needed to refer them to a different colleague, I could go ahead and insert a link to their email address, really do whatever I need to. And on the bottom here, I can select who is actually going to receive this message. Maybe I don't want somebody, just some random person receiving this response. So I can select to only send a response to the people that I have in my contacts, or I could just say, I only want people in my company to receive this message. Once I've selected what I need to, I've made all my changes, I need to select Save Changes. Now let's talk about starring. To star an email, you're going to go to your inbox and you can locate the message you'd like to star. So for example, I have a few emails here starred. This one, me, untitled form, I've starred it because it's really important to me and I want to have a little bit more visibility to it. Now I want to add a star to this document that Donald Duck has sent me. It says comment only. I just go to the left of it and I click star. Now a star has been added. If I didn't want that star on it, I actually meant to do this one down here, I could just click on that star again. Now it has been unstarred, and I can add the star directly to the email that I'd like to have starred. I can also add a star by going directly into the email, and on the right next to the date it was sent, I can go ahead and put a star on it. Now this message is starred, and if I was doing one that had multiple threads on it, I can see that this first one is not starred, but this second message is. To select all the messages you've starred, maybe you want to, I want to move all these starred messages into a separate folder. I can go to this empty checkbox, select the down arrow, and I can select starred. Now all my starred messages have been selected, and I could go ahead and go to this folder icon and move them to an appropriate folder. With this select button, you can also, I don't want anything starred. I want all of my red messages starred. You can go ahead or selected and select whatever you need to. You can also go ahead to the left side and under your inbox, you can go ahead to starred. And here I can see all the messages that I've starred. So I have quick access to them, and all the rest of my emails are kind of ignored for the time being, and I can just focus on these ones. All right, this next feature I'm going to show you is really awesome. I love it. I think it's a really cool feature that Google has enabled. So have you ever clicked send on an email only to realize a few seconds later that you made a typo or you sent to the wrong person? Well, with Gmail, that's a problem of the past, granted you've enabled undo send. So to enable undo send, you're going to go to the gear icon, select settings, and here on the left, undo send, I can go ahead and enable undo send. By enabling undo send, you will be able to undo a message that you've sent within a certain number of seconds. So I've turned mine on, and I'm going to set it for 30 seconds. I want 30 seconds to decide if, oops, that wasn't what I meant to send. All right, so I go to the bottom, and again, you definitely make sure to save changes. Otherwise, nothing will be saved that you just did. So let's go ahead and test undo send out. I'm going to send a message to my good pal, Donald Duck. Just draft up a quick email so we can send this. All right, that looks good to me, and I click send. Oh no, but I forgot to include John. On the top of my page, I can see this yellow dialog box, and I can click undo. Now my message has not been sent, and I can go ahead and edit the message. So, I forgot John really needs to know about this. I can add him in there, and again, I can send. Again, I can just click undo, and now the message reappears and I have access to try again. You can do this as many times as you want, as long as you're in the time limit of 30 seconds from clicking send, or whatever time that you've set for your personal settings. All right, let's do a quick pop quiz here to make sure you're all still awake and following me. So let's go ahead and get it. All right, so the question is, how do you enable undo send? Option 1, do you go to settings and click enable next to undo send? Do you click on a message, go to more options and enable undo send? Or do you have no idea and you'd like me to demonstrate it again? We definitely have time to go over and show us again. All right, so it looks like most of you got the question correct. You do go to settings and you click enable next to undo send. So again, you would go to your gear icon, go to settings, scroll down, and here I see undo send, and I can go ahead and enable it. All right, great. So let's go ahead and take a quick break for questions. If you have a question, please type your question in the question section of the GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll go over the question if Amanda hasn't already answered them. I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to input any questions you may have so far. All right, we have one question from Kelly. Can you sort by sender so that the name is a header followed by emails below? So you can go ahead and do that by just typing in, in your search tool, I want to find anything that Amanda sent me. So I can go ahead and click Amanda. I can see, I get these populated results. And if I click enter, I can go ahead and see anything that she sent me. And it is in order of when it was last sent. All right, another question we have is, can anyone send you an email even if they aren't on Gmail? And would you have to approve it? I believe anyone can send you an email. That is up to your company's policy. Um, but I know in mine, I'm allowed to send out and in. Sharing documents can be a little bit more locked down. So that's something that I'm sure Amanda would be able to answer better. So I'll let her answer that one. All right, we have another question. For vacation messages, if you do not click any of the boxes, will it send messages to anyone who emails you? So yes, if you do not click to, I just want my coworkers to see this, it's going to go ahead and send that vacation response to everybody. So definitely make sure you turn these on if you're concerned about who receives your vacation response. So right now I have it, just people in my contacts and just people in Dido training. If I did not have these on, it would go to everybody. Okay, great. I think we've answered all of your questions. So let's get going on to the next portion of our training. If you're like me, you probably want to have quick access to your colleagues that you frequently communicate with. With Hangouts embedded in your inbox, you'll have easy access to anyone you need to quickly get chatting with. On the left side of your inbox, underneath your inbox and labels, you'll see your Google Hangouts. And this will be notified with your profile picture. Mine's just this red C. And you may have a green dot next to it, which shows you're available. This account does not have that feature, but if you do have that, it just shows, I'm available and I'm ready to talk to you. If I go to the bottom of the page and click this Hangouts, here I can hide my Hangouts, this little icon. I can hide my Hangouts if I need, I just need it out of the way. It's distracting to me. I can click it again, and here I can see my contacts underneath my own. If I go to the right, I can see the conversations that I have open with. I recently talked to Donald, and looks like Amanda sent me a message. I could also go ahead and see my phone calls. If I need to start a conversation with someone, let's say I need to start a conversation with Donald Duck, I can go to his contact, and on the right side, I can click on these three dots, and I'll see some more options. So I can, pin to the top, start a video call with him, send him an email, hide him. If I double click on him, because I have the extension downloaded, it comes up in a different box. But if I didn't have this extension, it would pop up just like my email would, pinned onto the right side of my screen. Here I can send him a message, and we're good to go. So now let's say I need to add somebody to my contacts. They're not there right now. To do that, I go to the right of my own contact, click the plus sign to start a new conversation, and I need to add my good old pal John Lennon. Type in his name. I could also type in his email or his phone number, and that would also bring him up. And I'm going to click on his contact. And now I can start a message with him as well. And go ahead and close. Now let's say I'm working on an email and I just really need Hangouts out of the way. I can click on the three dots above my own contact, and I can drag my Hangouts to wherever I need. I can also click on Hangouts contacts at the very bottom just to, hide it. It's still open. People can still chat me, but it's a little bit out of the way. And now I feel more focused on my email. And if I just want to turn chat completely off, I'm getting way too many chats and I just need to focus, I can go ahead and go to the gear icon on the right, go to settings. I can go to the right, click on the chat tab, and here I could turn chat off. I just need it off for now, and I can go ahead and save changes. My email will reload, and you'll see now on the left-hand side under all my labels, there's nothing. Chats is off, nobody can chat me. Now I want to turn it back on. I've decided, oops, I probably do need to have that on. I can go back to settings, go to chat, turn chat back on, and of course, save changes. And again, now I can see it on the left-hand side of my page. Now let's focus on using Gmail to send, reply to, and manage messages. We'll start by explaining conversation threading. This is probably the biggest change you'll notice in Gmail. By default, Gmail groups messages with identical subject lines into threads, which makes it easy to reference previous emails. So let's go ahead and look at an email that has multiple conversations in it. So if you look at this very bottom messages with Christina and me, and you'll see this 3 in ellipsis. This indicates the number of messages contained in the thread. Any new replies in this thread will bring this message all the way back to the top. This will make sure that you don't miss any responses. Threading is a great way to keep track of everything. So multiple recipients can respond individually to a message, so make sure to pay close attention to the to fields when responding. It's not always safe to assume that with threading that everyone will be kept in the loop if the last person to respond didn't choose to reply at all. And this is obviously a common problem with any kind of emailing, that one person forgets to hit reply all and now only one person has the information and everybody else is left out. So just make sure that you're wary of who you are responding to and who you want to be included. So we recommend keeping threading enabled in Gmail. At least try it out for a couple weeks. If you decide after then it's not your cup of tea, you can go ahead and disable it at any time by going to the settings menu on the right, go to settings, and conversation view is what you'll need to turn off. If you just don't like the threading, it's not your thing, you can go ahead and turn it off and save changes. Just keep in mind that when you turn off threading, your email is going to get a lot bigger because all those conversations that you had threaded will be taken apart into individual messages. So your inbox is really going to fill up. So I like to keep it on. It's easier for me, easier to keep track of everything. At least try it for a little bit. Don't like it, you can go ahead and turn it off. Let's go back into a conversation thread, and I'm going to choose one that has quite a bit of activity on it. So let's do this one. So to expand and collapse conversation in a conversation thread is very easy. So I have all these ones above that are collapsed right now, so I can't really read them all. I just get little snippets of it. To expand it, I just go ahead and click on the message and it's expanded. Now I can read it. I could even go to the right, click more, and I could reply to this message individually just to Donald Duck if I wanted to. Again, if I'm done reading this, I can go ahead and collapse it just by clicking on it again, and now it's collapsed. So there are a few ways to reply to emails using Gmail. I can reply from the bottom of the thread by simply clicking reply, reply to all, forward. Again, make sure that you're clicking reply to all if you want everyone in the thread to be included on the email. I can also select the down arrow next to the message that I'd like to respond to, like I just showed you. I can click reply, reply to all, forward. I could even open a chat directly with this person. Maybe, I just need an instant response and maybe Amanda's not very fast at answering emails, so I just want to open a chat with her. I have a whole bunch of things I could do. I could even add her to my contacts list. and really do whatever I need to there. So I want to reply to this email, but I need to know who is on the email to make sure I'm including the right people. So next to the to and all the recipients, I can click this down arrow to show details. Here I can see, this message was sent by Amanda, it was sent to me, here's all the people that were CC'd, the date it was sent, and, the subject line. All right, so I've checked that. I have everyone on this email I need. So I'm going to go ahead and click reply to all. I've decided I also need to add our good friend Betty to this email. So I'm going to click on the recipients and I'm going to go ahead and type in Betty, find her contact. And whenever I'm adding somebody new to the conversation, I like to do plus their name, just so everyone's aware that, this person's now added to the conversation. Don't say anything bad about Betty because she's now in this conversation. And it's just a nice way to keep people organized and everyone knows who's involved in the conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and send this. But as I look at this email, there's a conversation here from Donald Duck that I'd like to respond to just to him. And click on the conversation and I'm going to go down to the down arrow and I'm just going to reply just to Donald Duck. Did you ever send this invite out? And I'm going to click send. Now you'll see that it just went to Donald, but it's at the very bottom of the thread because it's the most recent conversation. But Donald will only be allowed to see this. No, Betty won't be able to see this message. Amanda won't. Just Donald. So let's go ahead and do a quick poll here to see what you all think about conversation threading, because this is a very new feature for a lot of people. So the question is, what do you think about conversation threading? Do you love it? Think you might try it out maybe for a few weeks? Or, I don't like it. I've seen this before and I will be turning it off. I'll give you about 20 seconds here to input your answer. Great, so it looks like we have all of our answers. Let's go ahead and share these. All right, it looks like we're pretty split. So some of you love it, some of you might try it out, and a few of you, you're not liking it, you're going to turn it off. Definitely try it for a little bit. I came from Outlook and this was a new feature for me and it does take a little bit of time to get used to, but gosh, it really clears up your inbox and makes your just keeping track of who was the latest to respond a lot easier. To start a new message, you're going to click the red Compose button in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. And by default, Gmail messages are composed in a pop-up that's pinned to your mailbox. If you'd like to default to full screen compose, you can do so by going to the message, clicking on this down arrow, more options, and you can default to full screen. Now when I open a new message, it's going to take up the entire screen. This is good for demoing, but there are some disadvantages for having it full screen. So I've had this new email open, but I need to reference another email. So I'm going to click to the side of here and you'll see now my messages again in this small pop-up. It's that's one of the limitations. Makes it a little bit harder to reference other emails. So I like to keep it on the pop-up setting, but you can go ahead and default. I'm going to default it to full screen for now, just for demoing purposes so you can see my screen a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and type a message. So if I want to add a person as a recipient, I'm going to go ahead and click in this recipients field. I'm going to go ahead and type in my coworker that I'm looking for. And I need to CC somebody as well. So on the right hand side, I can click CC or BCC. That field will pop up and I can go ahead and add in whoever I need to. Go ahead and type in a subject line and my message. And at the bottom of the screen, I can see these formatting options. So I click this, I can go ahead and change, my text, the size of my text, and do a lot of the formatting options that I need. I can go ahead also on the bottom and attach files. So here I can go ahead, I need this test document attached, and you can see it's loading, and now the document is included and attached to my email. To the right of attached files, I could also insert files using the drive. So I have something on my drive and I need to insert it through there. Keep in mind that attachments can only be up to 25 megabytes total. So if you do have anything larger, you should definitely upload it to your drive and then provide the link through your email. Here you can also insert photos, insert links, and you can insert emojis if your company allows that, and that's your personality. Spell check is also automatically turned on in your message compositions. So if I've spelled a word wrong, let's go ahead and spell you wrong. You can see that now it's underlined in red, just like a normal spell check would do. If I right click on the word, I get this you option. Yep, this is what I want to do. I could also add a word to a dictionary. This is definitely something you want to do if, Google keeps saying that my company name is spelled wrong, but that's how it's spelled. I could go ahead and add that to the dictionary and it would no longer be coming up as an incorrect word. So you need to do that. That's how you go about doing it. All right, so I'm done with this email for now, but I'm not quite ready to send it. For your convenience, when you begin composing a message, Gmail will automatically save it as a draft until you send the message. So there is a drafts label in Gmail which you can use to view all your drafted message. So I'm just going to exit out of this, and rest assured, on the left-hand side in my drafts label, click on that, I can see all my drafts, and here's my message. Okay, now let's say I have this email, but I don't really like this subject line. It's not descriptive. I don't know what it's about. I can go ahead and change the subject line by going to this thread, click reply, and next to the recipient's name, there's this arrow, and I can choose the type of response. And I can go ahead and edit subject. See a new form uploads. Oh, you may need to turn off full screen. So let's go ahead and try that again. Reply, down arrow, edit subject. All right, here I see this new form has loaded, and I can go ahead and change the subject to what I'd like it to be, and I could even respond to it directly if I needed to. All right, now the new thread has the correct subject line that I'll be very happy with. Let's go ahead and all right, great. So you probably noticed throughout this training that I've said label and not folder. Labels don't quite behave like folders. In a folder-based mail client like Outlook, you can move an email from your inbox folder to a particular folder. And when you do so, it disappears from your inbox and only appears in that folder. But labels are different. You can attach multiple labels onto a single conversation. Like this one, for example, has the label invitations in green. And this conversation will not only appear in my inbox, but also appears on the left side in my invitations label. So let's go ahead and select a thread and let's go ahead and put in a label on it. So I'm going to select the conversation and I'm going to go to the top under the search bar, click labels, and here I can go ahead and select the labels that I'd like to have included on this. So I want invitations and projects and project XYZ. Now I can see on the top that this thread has all of these different labels. So not only does it still appear in my inbox, but it also appears in my invitations, my projects, and project XYZ. Now what I personally like to do is I label messages in my inbox with the appropriate label, and I keep them in my inbox until they've been addressed. After they've been completed, I go to Move to, the folder icon, and I go ahead and I move it into the correct folder. Now that it's been addressed, it can be filed away. I can also move things into folders simply by selecting the conversation and just dragging and dropping them into the folder that I'd like them to be in. Now let's create our own label. So I'm going to go back to this one, and yeah, it fits all of these labels, but it needs another one. So I'm going to go to the labels, and I'm going to go ahead and create new. I can give this label a specific name. It also is part of Project X, and I could even nest this label underneath another folder. So I can go ahead and, it really should be under projects because it's a part of this one. So I go ahead and select that and click create. Now you can see on the top that Project X has now been added as a label. And if I go to the left-hand side under projects, I can see Project X is nested underneath it. Now, if you're going to use labels, which I highly recommend, you'll want to be able to find messages according to certain labels. To do this, I can go to the labels on the left-hand side of the inbox, and I can select the appropriate label that I'd like to search for. So I selected Project X, and here is that email that I just gave that label to. I can also go, let's say I have a ton of labels and I'm having a hard time locating the one I need. I could go to the search bar, type in, I need to find label Project X, find what I'm looking for. Oh, there we go. And now it'll bring anything with that label up. So, system labels are predefined labels in Gmail. So these would be your inbox label, your starred, your spam, and these names are reserved, which means you cannot create a label with the same name as a system label. So to manage your labels, select the message that you like. You can go to your folder icon or your label icon, and you're going to go down to Manage Labels. Here I can decide what labels to show and what labels to hide and what labels to remove. You'll notice with your system labels that you cannot delete them, and your inbox you cannot show or hide it. It's just automatically shown, and of course you probably wouldn't want to get rid of that one anyways. But let's say I want to see my trash. So I can go ahead and click show, and now I'll be able to see my trash on the left-hand side underneath drafts. Of course, I wouldn't be able to delete trash. I can just show or hide it. If I go down to the labels that I've created, I can actually remove these ones. So if I don't need to see, invitations, that's not really important to me. I could go ahead and remove it. I could edit it, or I could hide it that, I don't want to get rid of it for now. I just don't want to really see it on the left-hand side because I have a lot of different labels here. I could go ahead and hide that. Another way to keep your inbox nice and organized is to color code your labels, which I highly recommend. This will make your labels stand out in your inbox. So as you've seen below, I have projects, which is red, so I can see easily that this is part of that label. If I want to add a color code to a label, I go to the left-hand side of my page. I go to the label I'd like to color code. So Project X, I'd like to color code that. Go to the drop down, label color, and here I can select the color that I'd like it to appear as. I don't have anything in orange. So, all right, so now if I see on the right-hand side, anything that has Project X as a label will now show up in orange. This makes it easy to find and easy to see in my inbox, so I definitely like color coding and would suggest it for anyone who likes to keep things organized and does so by color coding. So what's the difference between archiving and deleting? When you archive an email in Gmail, you're placing it in a folder where it will continue to exist, but it won't be in your inbox cluttering it up. The best part about this is that it will still be accessible in the future if you do need it. So when you delete an email, it's going to go to the trash folder. As you can see, my trash is all here. This folder acts as a backup just in case you didn't mean to actually get rid of an email. So I could go ahead and select the email, I could delete it forever, or I could go ahead and move it back to the folder I'd like it to be in. Be aware that Gmail automatically deletes mail placed in the trash after 30 days, and this mail will be unrecoverable. So definitely make sure that you're aware of what you're actually throwing in your trash, just in case you put something in there that you didn't mean to, and 30 days have gone by and now it's gone forever. I personally don't delete anything besides spam, and instead I archive it just in case I do actually need the email in the future. So let's say I want to go ahead and, I want to delete this email. I can click on the thread and I can select the trash icon at the top of the message. And now it's in my trash. Oh, but oops, I really actually needed that. I can go to my trash label. Oh, here it is. And because I'm within the time limit of 30 days, I can select this message and I can move it back into where I'd like it to be. I'm going to move it back to my inbox. All right, as I can see, it's no longer in my trash and it's now in my inbox. So that message that I just had, I didn't want to delete it, but I don't really like it being here in my inbox and I don't have a folder for it. So I'm going to go ahead and archive it. So I select the message, I go up to the top underneath the search bar, and I click Archive. Now the message is out of my inbox, but if I go to my search bar and, I'm looking for it, I can still go ahead and pull it up. It's still there, the same message, and it's still available to me. Regardless of if I did it 10 seconds ago or, 2 years ago, I still find it because it's still there. Speaking of this search tool on the top, this is a great tool that you can use to sort through your email. If you're coming from Outlook, the search bar in Gmail is your replacement for the sort tool. This search bar is on the top of the Gmail page. Here I can type in what I'm looking for, and just like a Google search, I will get pre-populated results of whatever is most relevant. You see, I have lots of different things I can choose from. Now, let's say, I'm having a hard time finding the email that I'm looking for because I have a lot of other similar emails with that term. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the drop down arrow, and here I can set more specific filters to find what I'm looking for. So I think it was from my other email account, and I can go ahead and, who it was from, they sent it to, the subject, has the words, what it doesn't have, set a bunch of different things that I can go ahead and try to search for. And here it will narrow down my results and, oh, yep, this is what I was looking for. So sometimes I get emails from particular people, and when I get those emails, I want them to automatically be filtered and be given a certain label. I can create a filter in a few different ways. One way I can create a filter is to select the message, and I will go to the More option at the top of the screen and go to Filter Messages like these. Here I can set the terms of how I'd want them to be filtered. I can select, anything from this person I want to go somewhere. Anything that has the words. I'm just going to do anything from my email account I want to go to. Create filter with this, and I want it to automatically be starred because it's probably important. Apply the label, projects. I could forward it, delete it, really do whatever I need to for this one. And if I want to, I could go ahead and also apply this filter to 16 matching conversations. So anything that fits this filter that's already in my inbox, I can also go ahead and apply this to. I select create, and voila, my filter has been created. As I'm sure you've realized, in Gmail, filters replace rules. So you won't be setting rules anymore, and instead you'll be setting up filters like I just did. Let's do a quick poll here to see if you all are using filters or rules currently. So the question is, do you use rules or filters? Yes, all the time. I have a few that I use occasionally, or no, those aren't really my thing. Oops, sorry about that. All right, so it looks like not many of you use filters, or you have a few that you use occasionally. Filters are definitely a good way to, keep everything organized, but you do have to make sure that if you're putting things automatically into a folder that you do go check that folder out occasionally. Otherwise, you might miss some things. But it is also a good way to keep things organized. All right, let's take a break for questions in case you have any. We're almost out of time, so we'll go over questions, and if we have time after that, we can go ahead and check out Gmail Labs, which has some pretty cool features. I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to input any questions you may have. All right, we have a question. Does archiving remove emails from your storage limit? And yes, it does. If you are putting things in your archive, it is removing it from your storage limit, so you will have some access to You'll still have access to it, but it won't be taking up all your storage. All right, we have another question. Does it provide color-coded filters for incoming messages? Yes, you can set that up to be, if you've already created the filter and, or you want everything to go to, everything from Amanda is going to go to the projects folder. It will automatically be given that red color coding label if you have that already all set up. So definitely, if that's going to be something that you really use, make sure you set that up. Maybe one of the first things you do when you set up your new email account, you go ahead and create your labels and create your filters. Okay, so we have what it says, as in any message from Susie will be pink, Ben will be blue, etc. So let's go ahead and, let's go and look at this. So I want to set a filter. So I'm going to do, anything from Amanda. It doesn't matter what it is. Create filter with this search. So I can't actually apply a color code to it unless I have a label for it. So again, if I wanted to do a new label, I could go ahead and create that. And again, I would have to go ahead, go to the label, do the drop down, select a color for her. And in my filter, now anything that she emails me, you'll see, all right, so anything from Amanda now shows up with a pink label. So again, you'd have to have that filter set up already and that label set up. All right, another question we have, can conversations in chat be saved for future reference? Yes, they certainly can be. You can go ahead and look into your chat history as long as users have a Gmail username. So to access your chat history, you need to go to your chats. I think you can do archived hangouts. Let's go ahead and see. Now, I haven't actually looked into this before, but Google's telling me you definitely can do that. So if you do need to reference a chat in the future that you've recently gotten out of. Yeah, go ahead, Amanda.
Go ahead and search for a chat within the search bar.
Okay.
Any chat message will show up in the results as well. And also the Hangouts conversation tab in the middle of Hangouts will cover that also. And we're going to have a full training session on Hangouts chat and video calls that will go in more depth on this. But those are the two ways that you can access any older Hangouts conversations that you wanted to reference. There's also a way to turn that feature off if you didn't want them to be recorded too. So we'll talk about that too in that training.
Great, thanks, Amanda.
Mm-hmm. And Marla had just an add-on to that question as well about conversations in chat. Can you intentionally save them for future reference? So Christina, can you make a group chat message? And then we'll just title that group chat, or it can be an individual chat. And we'll just show that that can be found in the conversations tab of Hangouts.
You talking about, is this what you wanted to see? Start a new conversation?
Yep, you can start a new conversation, and then you can, if it's a group conversation, you can name it at the top.
Oh, I don't think I have this. Hold on.
Your screen is frozen on my screen here.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see it now?
Yes,
Oh,
perfect. Okay. Yep. New group, perfect. So just above that,
mm-hmm.
above where my name, go ahead and put a name in there. You can call it Project X or whatever you'd like to do. Yep, that's fine. Yeah, and click on the check. And now anytime Christina wants to reference this again, it will be in her chat list that's right here. So she can click on that again. It's going to bring up any old messages that we've sent back and forth there. And it'll bring up anything that we want to talk about in the future too.
Okay.
So you can either name the chat message or you can just click on a chat message that you've had in the past from that list that's on the side, and that will bring it up too. But we'll spend some more time on this in our full Hangouts training that we have.
Okay, great. Well, I think we are out of time and we've answered all of the questions. So I think we're ready to wrap up today's session. So again, this session is being recorded and will be shared via email later today in case you do need to reference it in the future. I'd like to thank you all for joining today's training webinar, and I hope that you now feel confident in your ability to navigate Gmail. Thank you and have a great day.